Hi, welcome to Demo Garage. I'm Steven, and in today's episode, I'm going to be replacing this original factory rear carpeting. As you can see, it was a little worse for wear, a little thin. I did have a shot at re-dyeing it, but the material's worn out. It didn't fit great, especially after me redoing my package tray. And as you can see from the condition of this weird horsehair batting, it appears to have a bunch of mold in it. It's gross, and so I'm going to do something about that today. Okay, so I am now working on the rear carpeting, and I thought this might be the easiest piece to prove or disprove whether or not I have a sewing machine capable of replacing a couple of pieces of the carpet inside the TVR that really bother me. This piece and the pieces on either side of the shift tunnel, if I could figure a way of replacing them, then I could live with the carpet that's currently in there and not spend a ton of money for a little while. So I have attempted to try and figure out how to make what's there fit better first, based on, I don't know, factory limitations, plus changes I've made in the back, like the rear kick panels and whatnot. I know it needs to be longer, and then there used to be a section that sticks out, went under the center console. And so I'm trying to just do a little custom fitting of what's there, so possibly use it as a pattern for a new one. I'm trimming it up, and I'm finding this thick horsehair is giving me troubles. So I'm going to take this piece to the fabric store tomorrow and say, what do you got that looks like that? So we'll see. And now I'm trimming, and I'm removing this horsehair, or whatever you want to call this stuff. And I will be using whatever the modern equivalent of this material is, sound deadening and whatnot, with whatever I do. My concern is my sewing machine going to be strong enough to put a nice bound edge on this? So I'm going to buy some pre-made binding, and I'm going to give it a shot with my sewing machine. But I feel like the worst that could happen is I get it all ready and set it up, and then have to take it to some upholstery place to have them actually put the binding on. But I'm hoping my sewing machine will make it through that. So as you can see here, I am separating the horsehair from the carpet, and then I'm going to try and do another fitting. And of course, you know, it kind of looks like this inside. Getting reflection off of the glass, but you can see it was fitting poorly near the kick panel, and then needed to be a few inches longer. And then I just showed you a section that used to be underneath the center console. Yeah, so that's what's going on in this clip. And if I think of something to show you that I feel like would add to the detail of this clip or this video, I'll bring you back. Okay, here's another clip of I'm going to try and remake that rear carpet, and hopefully this works out okay. These are materials I picked up from one of my favorite stores, A1 Foam. I've talked about them in Santa Ana. This is an example. This is a portion that I cut off from the original carpet that sticks underneath the center console, and I'm choosing not to have that kind of extension on the new design. Oh, look at that. This horsehair, whatever this stuff, this padding. By the way, a bunch of it had a bunch of mold in it, so pretty gross. I'm glad I'm getting rid of that. This is the new backing pad that's going to replace this stuff, and I like that it's black. And then this is the cut pile It's actually pretty inexpensive carpet. Unfortunately, it's only 40 inches wide, I think, something like that. So I got 1.5 yards of it. That should be plenty. And it looks very similar, I think, to the original. The lighting, let's see. It's going to be close enough for me. And like I said, if this works out okay, I'm going to do the pieces of carpet on either side of the shift tunnel. So that'll really be the only kind of carpet you see. It won't be old and new once I do that. So this will be close enough for me. And then I got these this single fold backing is going to take the place of this stuff. And I'm hoping my sewing machine is up for the task. Otherwise, I might have to put this all together and take it to someplace with a better sewing machine than mine to actually do the binding. But I'm tackling this hoping that my sewing machine is up for the task. And so the next step is for me to finish using the old piece, which is currently sitting in there, as a pattern, and then add and subtract material from what I'm seeing in there onto the new stuff. So yeah, let me get this all set up and transfer the new size onto the new material, and then I'll bring it back. Okay, so here's the original carpet, and it was partially trimmed to fit a little better, and then I added pieces to it that I was hoping to incorporate in the new piece. So you can see I've followed the line from the new pieces that I taped on. And didn't buy too much material, just kind of the minimum. So I think I'm going to have about $100 in this total if you count the glue, the carpet, the backing, and the binding. So if this works out, that's a pretty good deal. I'd be happy. I'd be happy with that outcome, the cost. So yeah. So now the next step is to pull this original carpet off and use a pair of scissors or whatever is convenient. Probably I've got this cutting board down here, so any straight cuts I'll probably make with a sharp razor blade and a straight edge. So let me get to that, and I'll bring you back once I have the new carpet trimmed out. So I'll bring you back. Okay, so I've got the new carpet all trimmed out to a size that I think is going to work as good or better than the original. And now the next step is to glue the padding or backing onto the back, and I'm going to use this A1 heavy duty adhesive spray that I bought from the same place as the fabric and the backing. So I'm going to trim the backing is a wider bolt, so I'm going to trim something close to shape, and then I think what I'm going to do is spray a little bit and put it down, roll it up, spray a little bit, work my way across, and I think that'll make, I don't think I'm explaining that very well, but I think it'll make more sense when I bring you back for the next clip. So I'll bring you back when I've got that about half done. And you can see I've used cardboard to protect my tables from the glue. And so let me get to that, and I'll bring you back in another clip. Okay, so I think you can probably see what I'm doing here. I'm gluing the backing strip, which I've trimmed down to approximate right size, and I've got it folded over, doing approximately half, and I've got glue setting up on the backing of the carpet and glue setting up on the mating surface of the batting. And I'm just going to wait for that to become not tacky, and I'm going to roll it into place and rinse and repeat. with the other side. I'll bring it back. Okay, so next step, I have the carpet and the batting secured with glue. And next step is to trim the backing to match the carpet. So I think I'm probably going to do it in a similar fashion with straight edges and X-Acto knives. And I'll bring you back after I've got that accomplished. Okay, this thing's looking really sweet. I think that is about as good as I am capable of, and it really matches what I had in my head about the project. Now it's time to go pull my sewing machine out of its storage place and see if it has the balls to install this single fold around the outside. But worst case scenario, I take this somewhere and have it done for me. But yeah, so I'll probably do a little bit of practicing, see if the sewing machine is capable on some spare material, and I'll bring you back when I have that set up. All right, so this sucks. I spent a couple of dollars putting this walking foot attachment on, hoping that I could do this carpeting change on my own, but unfortunately it isn't the balls of this sewing machine, it's a physical size on this thing. So I've got the underlayment and the carpet on here, and it is way too thick. Like, there's no way I can jam this. This is as high as it goes, plus this edge binding. That's just not gonna work. Not gonna be able to do that one-handed, I guess. But anyway, the good aspect is I found an upholstery place nearby. They work on, I think, mostly boat stuff, but I'm not really sure. And I think they're gonna help me out. I'm gonna bring them with a carpet ready to go, and I've already purchased and have the binding, so they're going to sew this on for me, hopefully at an agreeable price. So they can do it tomorrow. So let me go ahead and take that by, and I'll bring you back when I've got it in hand, and I'll let you know what's going on. I appreciate it. Bye. Okay, so the next step in this this carpet section is I'd really like to get rid of, see? The smell inside one of these old vehicles, it has to do a lot with the materials, right? You can see this thing probably had a lot of mold in it. This is the back batting for the rear carpet, but so I think this rear carpet section is going to work out for me. So I'm taking the next steps in getting rid of a few more pieces. I'm probably not going to go crazy, but this is the section that was here. And so my idea is I'd like to replace this piece that comes forward on both sides. This is what you see, and it's all worn out and looks really bad. So I think if I can replace this carpet, the one on the far side, and the one in the back, I can live with the condition of the parts for the most part for a while. So I'm gonna dig. This is just batting, and I've got some of that. So I'm gonna clean this up and possibly glue in a new piece. I'd love to not have all this, I'm gonna call it horsehair, flying around and the smell and whatnot. So at some point in the near future, I do feel like I'm gonna replace this piece, the other piece. The back is working out for me, so I'm gonna scrape this out and replace this center section because I've got an open weekend and I got some time, and this seemed like an interesting thing to do. So I'll bring you back.
Okay, so here's another clip in which it appears I have forgotten to turn on my microphones, and I'm talking about how I have scraped out all the other horsehair and a glue, and I was surprised to find that there's a couple of fasteners. So I did not take this panel off, but I'm assuming it gives you some access, and I can't tell you what that is because I didn't do it. But for you viewers out there, please know that it could be there on your vehicle. Here I am fitting the new piece of material, and while it's a little bit lower in thickness, I'm intending to replace the two pieces of carpet on either side, which will bring those two to the same height. So I'll bring you back.
Okay, so I just picked up this carpet from the upholstery place that put the binding on. And this looks as good or better than what the factory did. So now I'm going to go ahead and slap this in and see if the fruits of my labor have borne fruit. So I'll bring you back when I've got it in. All right, look at that. I feel like that's looking pretty good. I think a little of those wrinkles is just kind of the glue between the carpet and the underlayment. Smells great in here. Not like the, I don't know, 70s English sports car. Maybe you're familiar with that. But this fits way better. I like the way it comes over here a little bit more than it used to. So I am excited to maybe attempt to replace a couple more pieces of carpet in here. If I had a sewing machine that could have done the binding, this would have been $100 cheaper. This piece of carpet ended up costing me $230 US, but I like it, and it fits much better. You remember it didn't reach the back previously, and yeah, I'm just super pleased with that. So with that, I've completed another project on a TVR, my 1973 TVR 2500M. I'd like to thank you for coming along on Demo Garage. And as I always say, I hope you learned something, because I know I did. So until the next video, bye.